Welcome back, guys. Today I'm going to show you guys how I repaired this severely broken nail using a coffee filter tip. A little over a month ago, I had an adverse reaction to a gel product and it really affected my skin, so much so that it brought the length all the way down on the right side. So in order to make it match my right thumb, I'm going to be using coffee filter tips to fix it. You're going to need dip liquids, base and activator specifically, a coffee filter because we're using a coffee filter to extend the nail. You're going to need nail scissors or even larger scissors, but I like the smaller ones because they're easier to get into the small areas that you need it to. And clear dip powder. Doesn't matter what brand, you can even use acrylic powder like Mia Secret Clear, your choice. You're also going to need a file and a buffer to help shape the nails after you're done. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I need to size the coffee filter to the size that I need it to be so I can start cutting. So I want it to be the width of my nail all the way back because the damage is all the way back almost at the very end of my nail. So I'm just cutting it to the width and I'm giving it a pretty good length, longer than I want it to be because I could always remove length, but I can't add more after I put the coffee filter tip on. Notice that the coffee filter has an S shape to it and I'm going to turn it into a C shape so it fits my nail by putting it around the base of this eyeshadow brush and rubbing it gently, and then when I'm done, just a couple seconds here, it looks like I have a C curve on it. And it looks like it's the perfect width for my nail. The reason I'm not using like nail forms or a fake tip to do this is because if I do that, then like the glue from the fake tip or the gel from the builder gel and the forms and all that stuff are going to get on my skin, and the forms don't reach all the way back to that damaged area. So I'm applying a generous layer of dip base onto my nail, and then I'm going to gently take the coffee filter tip and then pat it onto my nail, trying to make sure that I don't glue my finger or any tool that I'm using to pat it down, don't glue it to my nail bed. If you notice that the base is drying way too fast, it's okay. Remove the coffee filter tip and then just add a thicker layer of base and then do it again. If the damage was a much shorter area, for example, just my free edge, not the entire right side of my nail bed, this would be a lot easier to do because I wouldn't have so much nail surface that I needed to cover with the base bond and the coffee filter tip. So doing it this way, such a large surface area is going to take you longer than a shorter area, so do not get discouraged if you have a smaller area to fix, unlike me where I have my entire nail bed that I have to fix. Now I'm applying another layer of dip base because I want it to completely saturate my nail bed and then make sure that it completely lays flat on my nail bed. I want every single part of that coffee filter to be touching every inch of my nail bed, what little amount I have left. At one point, it started lifting on the free edge and not gluing shut, so I added more base and I used my tweezers to really hold it down. Since I just added more base, I'm going to go ahead and pour over some clear dip powder. If you don't add base and your base is dry, add another layer of base and then pour over your clear dip powder. The clear dip powder is going to add thickness and really something for the dip base to really like grab onto and really harden it. Just kind of like it would be like a real tip where it has like that non-bendability. I don't know what else to call it. It's not so flexible. That's what we're trying to do with adding the clear, is to make this coffee filter tip not flexible. So then you're going to dust everything off and repeat the process as many times as you'd like. As you're repeating the process, adding more base, you want to make sure the base goes further and further up over the tip area because you want it to actually have a free edge. So you'll notice half of the coffee filter tip is covered in base now, so I'm just extending out how much clear I'm adding towards my tip. And you'll see here in the corner right here that there's no like hyponychium. It's because that's the damaged area and why I needed a tip in the first place. So now I need to harden everything to make it not flexible at all. So I'm applying a layer of activator, and then I'm going to go into the whole shaping. I'm using the nail scissors from earlier, and I'm just going to cut the tip off where there's no dip base and no clear dip powder. And then I'm going to trim the sides in a little bit because I'm going in for an almond shape. If you're completely happy with how it looks at this point, you can go ahead and dip over it, but I'm going to shape it in a little bit more because I want it to be more fluid before I start dipping over it. So you don't have to do the shaping that I do if you don't have an almond shape. So what I'm doing here first is it looks kind of coffin-y. So I'm going to take rubbing alcohol and a paper towel. And I need to add more bulk to this because I'm honestly not satisfied with how much bulk there is before I start dipping over it. I personally like there to be more of an apex. So now that I've rubbed it with rubbing alcohol, I can go add more base and more clear dip powder. Remember, this part is completely optional. If you are happy with how much coffee filter tip and how much thickness there is, you don't have to do it like I did. But you'll notice right here at the tip, it kind of dips down a little bit. And I want there to be more apex. So I'm just working on building my apex on this coffee filter tip. Alright, I'm pretty much satisfied with the thickness here. This is how thick it would be if I just put a fake tip on my nail. So this is my normal thickness to start before I do like builder gel or dip powder or anything. Mind you, it doesn't have like a curved apex like my thumb does, but it's okay. I will work on that later on with builder gel. So I'm going to dust it all off, and then I'm going to apply activator, and then I'm really going to shape it into the almond shape that I like. So you see here this entire white free edge part. That means there's no hyponychium there, and that's where that's why I needed this, because my nail was so freaking short. I'm also activating the underside because technically that has dip base on it, so I need to harden all areas. So now that it's hardened, I'm going to go ahead and shape it into the almond shape that I like. This isn't going to be a tutorial on how I do my almond shape. I'm just showing you guys a small quick snippet on just my shaping, but I'll have a video on how I got my almond shape coming very, very soon. Don't worry, that's coming. So when I'm happy with my shape, that's pretty much the end of it. That's all I have to do is shape and buff and move on with my life. I'm going to apply another layer of activator just to be extra secure that it's super duper hardened. But that's the end of it. That's really just, I got my length back and I'm so happy about it. So here is my coffee filter tipped nail compared to my right natural nail. It's practically the same in length and shape. Not bulkness, because I'll work on that with builder gel, but yeah, I'm going to show you guys the whole process from start to finish, even dipped. I have dip powder on the far right, and it looks completely natural. Several people have even said that they thought my nail was growing out, like they thought, like, hey, your nail grew out so fast, when in actuality, it's just a tip. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions or tips and tricks or recommendations, as this was my first time doing it on myself, let me know in the comments below. I can't wait to hear from you guys.